What's up, YouTube? It's JSauce back again with another video, and today we have another unorthodox JSauce video. We have power rankings for the Hoenn division because we got told we'd get power rankings at the beginning of the season and never did. So I took matters into my own hands and I made mid-season power rankings based off the teams and the battles 5 weeks through season. These aren't going to be perfect. Like, I worked hard on these, but I only have notes for each battle and each team. And please don't take my word as gospel. I can be very biased towards my play style and stuff that I think is important that other people don't. Uh, and yeah, I might say stuff purely because I don't believe it's good or it's not led to success for me more than likely. So just keep that in mind. To all of you watching out there, play comfortably, play comfortably, play to your skill set, and even if it varies from mine, I'm gonna respect it. Right? That's how I think. Uh, that's how I know I play the best. Is I draft mons that fit my comfort zone and stuff that I like, and it makes it a lot easier than playing with something I don't know how to play. So, getting into it, the PRs are based on, in no order of importance, teams drafted, battles played, strength of schedule, which I didn't originally have on there, but I figure it played a pretty big part into the rankings, especially at the top. And then sets and teams brought in moderation because I can only see what's in battle. I did not go back and dig up all the poke paste because first off, both sides don't send a pokey face after every battle, more than likely, and I honestly didn't have the time for that. The list is organized in tiers, not in order, and the teams inside the tiers are usually interchangeable, although maybe closer to top, it can be argued order, but I felt like the top, like, 6, 7 teams could all have, excuse me, could all have their spots changed. So yeah, let's get into it. I divided into 4 tiers with 4 teams each. So this is tier 4. This is 16 and 13. Um, again, does not mean you're bad. Don't say it like this. I had a hard time saying it PRs in a way where I felt like I wasn't bashing people. I felt like they'd take it as me calling them bad, but I try and make this in a nice way possible because I don't mean they're bad. Like, some people have a little more improvement to do than others, but that doesn't mean that they're bad. Um, Kicking things off. So most of this list is going to be in terms of record because, like I said, the order doesn't really matter. Not to me, at least. Order within the tiers. So I just went bottom up. Pensacola Pelipers and coach Mr. Duax are 1-4 -8, which I have them at the bottom because on the cheat it said -14. Uh, the +3 went at the bottom was accidentally recorded as a -3 loss, and so that skewed the differential by 6. And this is the first one I made. I didn't catch that mistake till later. So yeah, just bear with me. Like, the whole thing that matters with this is order doesn't matter. I've said it once. I've said it twice. I'm going to say it again. Please don't take these rankings to heart. I'm a pretty bad Pokemon player myself. Like, I know I might be getting on top of the tier or the division, but I'm not that good. Really, I don't think I am. And I know my style of play varies from everyone else's. But yeah, so week 1, played Felon, loss, close loss. Week 2 versus Kicks, not so close of a loss. Name, close loss. Julius, not close loss. Hero, great win. What we love to see. As for the team, it's a fast average, but there's no speedster. Serperior's the fastest Pokemon, despite having 6 Mons at 100 or more. And so that can cause some problems. I think it's going to force some Scarfers, which isn't a bad thing necessarily, but there's some Mons that I prefer not to be. I love Terra Hoopa. It's one of my favorite Terramons in this format because it feels so strong. At 15 points, you can use it. You can get Terra. You can get secondary Terra. I saw the Fairy Dragon Steel Core, Like, I'm not the world's biggest Florges or Dragalge guy, but I respect that. I like Iron Treads in theory when I'm using it, but when I'm using it, it's like alright. And then nice momentum, got a U-turner, a Volt Switcher, 2 Baton Passers, and I don't know if that's it, but Palafin gets Flip Turn, which is not on there, so it looks worse. Not sure what that says. Hold on. Okay. Um, got solid removal with Defog and Rapid Spin, and 2 nice Wish Pastors. That's going to be the big thing, I think, keeping everything alive is going to be key to team success, in my opinion. Um, so yeah, in terms of battles, so I watched every battle. I'm just gonna try pick up some trends I saw. Because I could do individually, but that's gonna take too long. So the things I noticed, especially the first 2 weeks, um, Mr. Duax, you sent in a Florges willingly versus a Skuntank, and then you calm mind on it. While I don't know if you thought it didn't have poison jab, but it did, and then that was kind of like your cleaner. So you threw in your cleaner too early, and now the late game's looking incredibly tough. And then week 2, the same thing, same mon, but on what I thought was an obvious unaware Claude, the way it switched in. Um, and then week 3, like I know I said I'm not gonna do it individually, but it could be argued you stayed in too long with like Typhlo and Treads. Maybe, um, how do I put this? Maybe consider saving some Mons until late game instead of just staying in and letting them die. And same thing happened week 4, let Iron Treads in versus Lando. And then, but week 5, most importantly, he recognized WinCon and played accordingly in a very clean game. So there's some trends that are there, like leaving some Mons on stuff that you shouldn't left him in on, or trying to go for game too early. And I know I did that a lot. It's something that can easily be learned. So I think after that week 5 win, I might start investing in some Duax stocks and Pensacola Pelipper stocks. Because I think they can be good. I don't know how good they're going to get with 4 weeks left this season, but um, take anything from this, continue learning, um, gaining experience, and it's going to all come to fruition in a different league, if not this one. So next, we have Pun Pun and the Zwol Buzzingtons, who started off not very great, to be honest, differential wise, and then got the first win and played a great game versus Sam. But as of the team, it's a great Fairy Dragon Steel Core. Probably one of the top ones in the league, I would say. But I talked with Pun Pun, and we both agreed that his team is very restrictive. Like, you're either running electric terrain, sun, a weird mix of both, or a weird and clunky fitting neither. Um, it feels like you have to commit to sun or to electric terrain, or else it's not going to be that great. It's not good enough sun in a weird position because, yeah, you got Lilligant and Typhlo H, but like those are your sun abusers. It's just not ideal. Not great momentum. yeah, you have Coco, but Jugs and Alucha don't really want to use it, especially if you commit hard E terrain. It's just not going to use it, and so your only real momentum user is Coco. At that point, it's a little shaky. And then your week to three comments coverage types, I'd say I think Ice is pretty common. I think flying is more common than people give it credit for. Just like air slashes and stuff and random dual wing beats. And then fairy's obviously a common type. And two of their resists are Torkoal and Typhlosion, which isn't great, you know. Four of the biggest threats get or sorry, no, you know what? I guess it's only three because that Verisian is supposed to be an Iron Treads. But still, three of your biggest threats weak to Fairy. It's not. Whoops. Just spoiled it. um. Anyway, yeah. Week one, just to put it lightly, he got out prepped. I don't even try the sun portion of it, but everything that Kicks had just countered it. Week two and week three, these are the big improvement points, I would say. Um, both games he sacked Coco early, and that led to just super downhill play and on the back foot. Um, week then the last 2 weeks he's been running great prep, not been sacking Coco, and recognizing how to like how do I put this? He's been making some doubles, been making some big doubles, way better prep, um, and just I don't know. It's night and week. Watch week one and week two, maybe even week three, versus weeks 4 and 5, and it's a completely different battler. I love to see the improvement. As of now, I don't even know what I would say is the weakness other than or how to improve other than like just learn how to use electric terrain better, I guess. I don't know, maybe preserve Coco some more because that's the only one that sets up electric terrain. But yeah, so now, as you already saw, we have Coach Julius and the London Lanterns. Um, I love the first six picks. Bolt, Stila, Lando, Vaporeon, Arcanine, Palmart. Palmart's pretty nasty. Good cores. Um, now the fairy and the fairy dragon steel. It seems a little fake to me, but he also has a Morgrim, so it's two fake fairies, which equals one, I guess. Equals one good one. Fire, water, grass core. I like. No grounded poison seems very important because on top of limited removal, now you can't remove toxic spikes. You can only play around them. And that's not great because this team does not like to be toxic. You know, you got Vaporeon, Arcanine, even Shuckle to an extent, right? And then Pult. Those things don't like to be put on timers. And then um, I feel like it's got 6 Monslot syndrome. It's a little more like 8 to 10 pointer heavy than I like because then I don't like to pick the fifth and sixth months. Like you could really bring any of these 6 months. Like I think they're all viable, and that makes it a little tricky sometimes. I think people don't realize it enough, but it can definitely be a little hard to pick 6 months out of 10 viable ones, especially in certain matchups where you have like 8 months you want to bring, and if you pick wrong, you can just lose the game. Um, Overall, I like it though. I don't think it's a bad draft at all. Um, oh man, what was I gonna say? Oh, so yeah, about the battling. I guess I didn't touch on. I like the speed tiers. I think they're actually pretty good. Momentum heavy, which I don't know if I touched on, but I love it. I love momentum. You got wish passers, you got U-turners, volt switch, and look at this bottom right corner. Look at all of that support. Got two prankster mons and Zorak, which for some reason gets every support move in the game. And then even stuff like Lando's putting in work. Um, as for the battling, weeks 1, 2, and 3, um, week 1, just everything got checked. It was a tough matchup. Uh, weeks 2 and 5, that he just got hazard stacked early and didn't couldn't remove them, and it chipped his entire team down. And it's tough when you're taking chip every time you switch in like that. Uh, week 3 actually played well, like deceptively well compared to the plus minus. Just couldn't touch Flashfire Heatran and end up causing him the game. Um, week 4, now the win versus Mr. Duax, was insane Vaporeon play. That T Wave turn 1 is incredible and great use of momentum, keeping Coach Duax on the back foot the entire time, and that's what I love to see. Like more games like that, and all of a sudden Julius stocks are up. Like if he gets a couple more games like that, and it can easily be 500. And I've seen it. That game had so many flashes. It was just like, man, I want more of him. Also, I will say Morgrim has been brought a concerning amount of times, but it continues to work sometimes. So, like, props on you for drafting a one pointer and bringing it. Um, I believe that's all for that. So, next, we have the Midwest Misfits and Coach Ajax Inferno. Now, they did just pick up a huge win yesterday. As I'm recording, it was yesterday. I watched it live and liked what I saw, but I don't know. Just, I think it was the week 1 win that was throwing me off because it shows up as a win. It was a win, but, and I'm not trying to question his skill, but uh, Ajax got a huge freeze on his Air Aura and it ended up winning him the game. And you can't blame luck, right? You can't, because it's Pokemon. But I don't know. Something just struck me wrong about it. Um, I think I put him a little lower because I absolutely hate his team. It just uses, not necessarily that's bad. It's just I hate like all of the mons on it. I used Roaring Moon, Iron Moth, and I did bad with them, so probably used them wrong. But don't like them. Um, Deoxys Defense, Cresselia, and Ditto don't like. And like I like this Hisuian Zoroark pickup. You might be like, oh, JSauce did you have that on your team? I did. He picked it up for me. And now I think it's looking a little threatening on his team with all of the ghost and fighting weakness. I will say that it feels like screens and setup. Like against Fallon here, he brought a lone Ninetales, Swampert, and 4 setup mons. I mean, it worked, man. It worked, but I don't know. It feels like OU. It feels like a ladder team. No removal, 0. Like, actually 0. Which, you know, dare I say that's pretty bad? It definitely feels bad when you have Cress. I guess you can't get hit by spikes or T spikes. But when you have Deoxys, when you have How many? Let's count real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 4 Stealth Rock Weeks Mons and no removal. That's not good, like, to me. And you could argue that some of your sweepers don't need health, but I think conserving as much chip as possible, or conserving as much HP as possible, super important. It because of all the setup mons, it's taunt and encore bait, I feel. And yeah, they have mirror, but like Roaring Moon gets taunted, so Titan gets taunted or encored. Cresselia and Deoxys, huge targets. Saralech can, but I don't know. I don't. This team's throwing me for a loop because I know I hate all the Monzot, but I can't tell how good or how bad it is. Right? I think it all depends on his prep and his opponent's prep, which you could argue is the same for all draft league, but it's just eh. And then, quite honestly, I don't know what this team does or wants to be outside of Aurora Veil. Like, if he doesn't bring a little Ninetales. No Steel type is also throwing me for a loop, and that contributes to the crippling rock weakness, but I feel like a Steel type's so important. Uh, the momentum is good with the U-turners and, well, I guess it's just the U-turners. I didn't realize that when I was writing. And then, what does that say? I'm just going to say some is knock plus trick plus taunt support. I don't know what that says. Okay, let's get to the battles. I so I wrote about half yesterday, half today, and my handwriting's awful, and I wrote a bunch of shorthand, so excuse me. Um, yeah, I'm really trying to read this, and I can't. Oh well. But I agree. The dark type weakness mixed with the rock type weakness and the ground weakness, and even the water weakness, all 4 weaknesses he has are super common types, and the stats don't really stand out. I feel like he's relying on setup, which isn't a bad thing. Um, like I said, week 1 he didn't play bad at all. There's just freeze hacks, and I remember that I did not get to. There's no replay, so and then let's see weeks. Yeah, weeks 2 and 4 are the big improving points for me. Week 2, he sacked. He died. His Iron Moth died to a power dig from Sneasler, which like you don't expect Sneasler to have. But then he straight up sacked his Gren to Unburden because he forgot, and then let his Terra Wincon get T-waved. He teared Saralech, and that boy just got T-waved, and it hurt. Then week 4, he he sacked 3 things to Blaziken, not Blaziken, but Blaziken. Whenever Iron Moth clearly lived any attack. Also, no Water Shuriken versus Regieleki feels bad, especially with Battle Bonds. Getting that +1/+1/+1 boost, and then clicking Water Shuriken would have been super good, and it also would have helped with Sneasler. Instead, it just got crushed. And um, week 3, the loss. He went for win on turn 3. He set Belly Drum onto Titan on turn 3. No Aurora fell up. That takes some balls. That takes some iron fucking balls. Overall, played a hell of a game, but let Saralech die after tearing it again. It's kind of a feel bad. And then week 5, he found the Crest matchup, played his WinCon incredibly well. So, improving points, I would say, based off the 5 battles I watched, and being a bad battler, I would say don't stop. Try to sack less stuff, and trust me, I know it's easier said than done because I do it all the time. It's probably my worst flaw, but you gotta do that. Then letting your Terra Captain die like that is a feels bad moment, especially when you have a Cress that loves Terra, as you can see from week 5. It's just I think if less stuff gets sacked, you're gonna see big uptick in the amount of wins in that column, um, or at least big improvement that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. So next we have tier 3. These are teams 8 through 12, and so far we have the Mudkip Mad Lads and Coach Lilith is Dead. They're the same, not the same record, or not the same differential rather, but um, let me get my card here. Um, some notes I wrote down for the team itself. No fairy, which is always a feel bad moment in my opinion. No dark, also feels very important. Just for knockoff, just for sucker punch, uh, they're both very good moves, and I think dark type's one of the better types in draft. And then no grounded poison, or rather any poison at all. So can't soak up T spikes, although three things can't get hit by it, and you have a rapid spinner. It's just I'd love to see a grounded poison type on this team. Now you are have a negative ground weakness, so I get it, but yeah. Um no three other types, which like psychic, bug, rock, all doesn't really matter. A lot of teams don't have a rock type, I'll tell you that right now. A lot of teams do not have a dark type, um, or a rock type. Sorry. Um, none of, oh, as for removal, none of the defoggers really want to click it. Like Blaziken doesn't want to click it. Swallow probably not, wants to be Specs or Guts. And Lando wants to attack more. And Red Aleki can have it, but it feels bad clicking it. Teraleki, Lando, Blaze with Pharaoh and Milo is honestly sickening. Like, how do we let this happen? I'm not a big Aleki believer, but I certainly think it's good. And when you add big threats and big defensive cores with it's hard to handle sometimes. Um, there's no Wish or Wish Passer, which feels bad because you have Kofagrigus, Milotic, and Ferrothorn, and Gudra H, and none of them can ever heal back. Well, I guess Milotic can recover, but still, you'd like to see a Wish Passer here. Um, I think underrated low tiers, Kofagrigus. I guess Gudra H is probably not a low tier, but Frostlass and Swallow are all super underrated mons in draft, and Lilith has got hella good mons, but I'm indecisive about the cohesion. I don't know if they're going to work together. I just know there's some good mons, and then some matchups looks like it works together. Some matchups it doesn't. Um, so let's take a look at the battle notes. Week 1. I'm going to go individually for this one. Um, week 1, out prepped, couldn't touch gold or flash fire Arcanine H. It absolutely sat on Blaziken, and then that caused a bad problem. Week 2, night and day from week 1, she controlled all game and played a great late game versus Azumarill. Didn't let it get out of hand, even at +6. Week 3, I know it's a 6-0, but it feels kind of bad because a missed Power Ape let um, let Annihilate get 4 kills, and so it was up until that point. It was probably a game, and threw away Frostlass, but it was on a pretty obvious drain punch, so I don't blame her at all. I will say the rapid spin on a ghost type was very questionable, but if that was just you waving the white flag, then I understand. I do. Um, week 4, outside of sacking Lando and Grand, um, and getting +1, +1, +1 with the what's it called? Uh, Battle Bond, played pretty conservative and took was in front of her, and it led to a nice solid win. Um, week 5 is a tough matchup. Honestly, played very well, although traded Blaziken for Masquerain, which feels bad. Um, even though it got a rapid spin off on Alecki and saved Sticky Webs from coming versus this team, you still traded a Blaziken for a Masquerain, which is a 16-point difference, 18 points versus 2 points, and you traded. Uh, so yeah, it's kind of hard to give advice because there's so many different things. It almost feels like a new thing every game. Like I feel like I'm showing up to a Lilith game. I'm not knowing which form I'm getting, which version of Lilith I'm getting, which uh, I don't know if there's any way to cure consistency or work on it other than just getting more experience. But I think with enough experience, Lilith is going to be a very scary battler. I would invest my invisible Pokemon stocks into the Mudkip Mad Lads because I think they're selling cheap, but I trust. Um, next, we have Coach Petroskowitz and the Cherry Grove Chikorritas, who I'm just going to say it right now. This would be my bet to go to playoffs with a 2-3 record. Um, but some team notes first. 110 max speed Mon feels bad. I know you have a Persian, but like, look at that Mon. You think that Mon's really gonna come very often? No. It's 4 times weak to fire Mons, which does feel bad. But um, you got Entei, you got Latios, got Azumarill. It's just the 4 times weak to fire combined isn't great. You're pretty much forced to run 1+ Scarf, in my opinion, unless you get a really slow matchup. But even then, you probably won't bring one to outspeed creep the speed creep. But that being said, has a lot of good Scarfers with Kartana, Gengar, um, Mamoswine, even Entei, and Latios to an extent. Great Fair Giant Steel Core. I love it. They all work super well together. But there's a lot of mods I like Gengar, Latios, Entei, Mamoswine, Scissor, Azumarill, Scrafty. I'm a little worried about how they're going to mesh together, but overall, I think you'll be fine. No Wish, which a lot of teams don't have, but I think it's feel bad. I think it's pretty important with bulkier teams like these. Scissor would love it, Azumarill would love it, even Mamo would love it. Even stuff like Rotom and Scrafty would love it. I just think, like, I know you probably couldn't fit a Wish Pass on here. I just think it would be pretty good. I think there's below average momentum and hazards. Like you got a really one viable U-turner and a Volt Switcher and one Baton Pass mod. And in terms of hazards, you have the Gengar and Mamoswine, which prefer to not be running those. But the defoggers are nice. Now, I don't think Cortana's ever going to be clicking it. Latios and Scizor might. Um, look at that knockoff span. 7 Mons out of 10, I believe. Get knockoff and good support. Anytime I say good support, it's mainly talking about this bottom right corner, like right here. But it doesn't have to be because there's a lot of good support moves that aren't on that. I just kind of cherry picked some of the ones I thought were important. And A+ type coverage, not negatively weak to a single type and has every single type but one, and that's rock. Like I said, not a lot of rock mons drafted. Uh, week 1 versus Weedle, -2. I think he played great. He played a good game, just got crit on the last turn. Otherwise, I think it's pretty probable he won. Um, it's a feel bad moment. Um, I'm gonna do this individually again because the week 3 and 4 is so impressive. Week 2, the first 4 turns weren't great. Just got put on the back foot too hard too early, and then it all spiraled down. I believe momentum and starting well contributes a lot to winning. And I think I can say the same about all my wins. I positioned myself well early. Um, then week 3 and 4 might be the most impressive 2 game stretch I've seen a coach play all year. He went blow for blow with for everything that Cat had week 3 and made great reads, and then followed the win versus the number 1 coach with the rank versus the new number 1 coach. It was impressive all throughout. He made great switches, predictions, sets, bar for bar with the best. And week 5, he lost a roll turn 1. After that, every single mon got countered by something. But he showed insane flashes over the season. That's why I said he's my bet to make playoffs, because I've seen it. He can take down the best, and I think he's got the team to do it. He seems comfortable using it. Um, so yeah, I think he's gonna play well, even coming off a loss. I would bet my sweet Bippy that he's he's gonna be in playoff contention. Um, Next we have Jolly B Drills and Coach Bleedle. Um, just yeah, take a look at this team real quick. I'll give you a second. All right, your second's up. The first note I had on my note card is, seriously, what the fuck is this? Who let him get this? I don't understand. This is an insanely dumb team. He's got offensive threats on threats paired with amazing defensive pivots. 2 of the best defensive pivots in the game, Corv and Glow King. But he's only got, he's got 3 ways to remove hazards. He's got 2 defoggers, which Corv loves to bring defog, and Cinderace loves to bring court chains. It's not going to be a big deal because one of those 2 is coming every game. No dragon at all, I believe. Yes, no dragon, but Silvally can turn into a dragon, so it's kind of hard to say there's no dragon. I think the team would benefit greatly from one, but like, what are you gonna do? Drop like Miss Mag for? I don't even know if there's a 7-point dragon. Drop it for like Turtonator and something else. Like I don't know what else you can do. Not great hazard options. You know, you're if you don't bring Gastro, it's a feel bad moment. And you have Toxic Spikes cloaking, I guess. But Ice legitimately don't know if I've ever seen the Glow King run Toxic Spikes. Um, it it's not necessarily a balanced team statistically. Like, you're definitely favoring offense over defense, but I think the team works. I think you got enough momentum and enough defensive pivots that you can definitely make it work. Um, week 1, like I touched on earlier, played well, but crit a sucker punch on Scizor caused the game to go early. I can't help but wonder what if Sucker didn't crit. Um, let's see. What else did I write down? I'm just going to go week by week. It's easier for me because a lot of teams don't share the same difficulties or same, not necessarily weaknesses, but they don't show the same thing every single week, so it's hard for me to group, and I did not group them during my writing. I just wrote down what I saw in the replay. So week 2 just wasn't prepped for Scarf Toga Kiss. Like, I don't mean to sound mean, but he brought 6 mons that just lost to Scarf Toga Kiss. And he died 6 times to Scarf Toga Kiss. Week 3 honestly played pretty close to flawlessly. Like, there's not much I would say to do better or do instead. But Fundy T just did too much late game, and so did Sneasler. So, played super well against one of the best in the league, in my opinion. And then just got late game. I don't like that. Losses matter. Losses can be ranked differently. Like, week 2, week 3 losses are two completely separate losses. They're not the same, even though they show up the same on the stat sheet. Um, Week 4 played around Molten Cinder late game, and even if Cinder lived on 1 and crit Darn for the win, a win's a win. And at the end of the day, still got the 2-3 record. So which means you're still in playoff contention. So even if a record looks deceiving, um, the most important thing is getting wins in that column and improving, I guess. And improving is pretty important too. But then week 5 just did it. I'm not gonna blame it on mods because the mod sent out message. It didn't look, but just brought a mod that he didn't have because he made some transactions recently, and it cost him a loss. It was Azorwa Hisui. A 2-pointer cost this man a loss. That's a feels bad moment. Um, Next, I'm going to go to Hero and the Dallas Wishmakers. I'm sorry if I'm moving a little fast. I'm trying to get this done like an hour, and Lord knows I could talk forever. My draft video, 40 minutes. My free agency, talking about 4 mons, 20 minutes. I don't want to do that. I don't want this to be a 4-hour power ranking. I'm trying to make it close to an hour as possible. I can't promise anything. So Hero, the Dallas Wishmakers, 2-3 with -3 differential. Uh, I would consider some pretty good speed tiers. Outside of the 143 to 110 drop, every drop is 10 or less for the most part. That's very good in my opinion. Makes it pretty easy to speed creep stuff. There's 5 types he doesn't have, including a grounded poison, which, looking at the team, that's a feels bad moment. Um, Avalug, Hippowdon, Sylveon, even Samu H, especially Annihilate, don't like to be hit with T-Spikes. Now, he does have Heal Bell Sylveon, but still, if you're forced to bring that, you're wasting Moose Thought and Sylveon. That's a win already in my books. None of the other types are super important, um, in my opinion. Especially, I guess the normal one might be because he's negatively weak to Ghost, but he's got the best hazard setter in the game. Used Samu once and absolutely loved it. I honestly do think it's the best hazard setter of the game, and I think Ceaseless Edge may be in contention for best move in the game. Um, got setup plus one of the best screen setters in the league. Set up with what's it called Annihilate, set up with Latias, set up with Zeraora, set up with Volcarona, especially under clef key screens, which can get up more than once. So you got multiple chances. It feels super good. Um, Good Fairy Dragon Steel Core. Um, Latias Sylveon good. I like Klefki better as a steel than a fairy. I'll just leave it at that. One Spike and T Spiker doesn't feel great, even though he's got 3 rockers. But look again, that entire bottom right corner has got like a good amount mons with support. Not as much as the last time, but having moves like Encore, like Taunt, like Trick, even stuff like Heal Bell or Roar, this can just be super. What's the word? Super momental. Like it can change the tides of a battle. So it's always nice to have just in case you face Terra Crests. um, yeah, back to the battle. Week one, I think he outplayed Ajax, despite Ajax playing good, but he got freeze hacked and like I can't remember how many turns it was because there's no replay. I think it was like 6 to 8 turns of freeze, just cost him the game. Week two, he looked very in control and composed. Won about every turn, close to it, and just looked looked very strong. Week three, he dodged a power whip, but played well around Annihilate, which is the win con. He got 4 kills, but I can't help but wonder, like I said with Lilith, can't help but wonder how that game goes if Power Whip hit, but that's Pokemon. Like I said, you just gotta take the win and move on. It was a pretty big one too. Uh, week four, bulked up on Dondozo with Zeraora, which was a complete power move because you know damn well that Mon has unaware, so you just wasted a turn and gave it a free bulk up or curse. Sorry, um, it just lost to Torkoal, Yon plus Fire Spin. Uh, Latias got countered by it, and then eventually Sylveon did. And then nothing broke Dondozo except for like Specs Latias. And then I guess you could say Sylveon did, but it got paralyzed that game, so it let Doto set up. Uh, and then week five he let Scarf Rap he let his best Staraptor check get chipped to 19% in Avalugg, and then his only flying resist was Zeraora, who he terra'd, and so Staraptor just went ham. Um, I really can't even say there's much he could have done better other than just prep for Scarf Staraptor, because normal and flying goes insane, especially if you don't bring Klefki. Um, so I think that's about all. Try to look see if I missed anything. I don't think I did. Well, I guess that's not. You only got 2 months weak to ground. It's not really a ground weakness. It's just that you have less. What's it called? Less resist than you do weaknesses. But no weakness like too bad. Like Fairy's your worst one but you only have 3 mons weak to it. You have 2 pretty good resists. So next we move on to tier 2. And these are teams 5 through 8, which um, in this league is playoff material. You get top 8 teams go to playoffs. I'm going to try and move a little quicker because I feel like I'm going a little slow and I have class to catch up to, or class to go to, rather. Um, and I think if I start going in depth on all of the playoffs teams, it's going to take forever, and it's going to be super repetitive. Um, Super repetitive because all the good teams do a lot of the same things well. So I'm just going to move on. Try to go a little quicker. Um, we have first playoff team. We have the Celta Victini and Coach Name. 3-2 plus 3. Got Hazards out the wazoo. Removers not out the wazoo, but still very good. I'll tell you what he has out of the wazoo. Momentum. Are you kidding me? Look at all the U-turn and volt switch mons. It's insane. That bottom right corner again, I'm telling you, good support. No Wish feels bad for Como and Feeney and Registeel and even Moltres to an extent. But alas, a lot of teams don't have Wish, like I said, so a lot of teams are going to get that criticism. Um, he's got some setup goobers, like absolute setup fiends, like Tapu Fini, um, Azelf, specifically Como. I was looking at that dude, and then Registeel can curse. So he's got some good setup mods. Whoops, accidentally just what's the word I'm looking for? Accidentally just uh turned my volume down. My bad, guys. Good type coverage. Got one of every type except for that pesky rock type, and then only weak to three. Um, excuse me. Only weak to three. Negatively weak to three types, which, albeit, are pretty common coverage types. Um, you got. I like the speed tiers. Like I said, you got 115 as the top speed is all right. Like at least you got two of them. But then only got three mons above 100. But I do like all of the mid tier speeds. Obviously you would love to see another fast boy. Like on the note I said a little wonky, but it's not necessarily bad. It's just kind of weird in most matchups. Like Scarf is coming on one or two things, and then I think one of your first three has to come every game so actually have them on above 100 speed. In terms of battles, week one played very safe while Spike's chips with Spike chip and could clean up. Week two played safe, just got chipped down and eventually crit by Annihilate on Tapu Fini, which pretty much not necessarily sealed the game, but made it a lot harder to win. Week three played patient and conservative until opponent had one mon left. Then he just went boom on a self and killed the opposing Palafin. Week four played super safe, super and well. Like I said, he got hit by three gunk shots in the end, including a game-losing crit, which is a feel bad because I thought he had that game in the bag, and then you never know because it's Mons. Week five played safe while picking up crucial kills on the way, such as the lead Masquerin versus Blaziken. That was very crucial. And this got a couple just got a couple more along the way and allowed him to be in a very good spot where Moltres and some other stuff just walled everything. Overall, I can tell you what he does well. He plays safe, gets up hazards, plays safe, and lets stuff get chipped down. Plays like a true veteran. A lot of new players have that get up and go energy. They can't play long games. They just want to get as much kills as much as possible, and he doesn't. He gets his hazards up and chips stuff down while he plays around his win con, and I respect it. It's much more consistent, and I think leads to more good teams. Yeah, big props to this guy. Also, he's a mod, and honestly, a pretty funny guy. So, big props. Oh man, if you saw the free agency video, I was yawning the entire time. And I'm recording it same day, and it's all coming back. Oh man. Next we have Coach Syri Kai and the Lockhart. 3-2 plus 3. Same record differential as the Celta Victini. Weird speed tiers. Only two above 100. A lot of mid speed tiers like we saw with the Celta Victini. And I think it can work, right? It can, but some matchups, boy, are you just goobed. Like there's some matchups it just sucks. I.e., like I'm not gonna do the battles first, but a good example of getting goobed by certain speed tiers is week one. I'll touch into that in a minute. Um, Force a scarf slash booster speed, which a Nam, Kyurem can both be scarf and they don't mind it. And Great Tusk can be booster speed or rapid spin and still be very good. Very good Fair Dragon Steel Core. Um, like very good. All three are very good mons. There's not as much momentum as you'd like. With this team, you know, you got U-turn and Volt Switch, but you kind of want more when you're playing with Enamorous, when you're playing with Kyurem, when you're playing with Great Tusk. Those things like to get in for free off momentum, like Volt Switch, like Flip Turn, like Baton Pass. And two momentum users make it a little tricky. No Wish or Pass, which, like I said, same criticism. Decent hazard removal, like the thing with the hazards is it's coming on 3 mons, which is very good because they're all usable mons. But I think you like to see the rocks and the spikes be divided up more, because now you're incentivized to bring it on 1 mon, whereas um, whereas if spikes and rocks were different, you'd be incentivized to bring one or the other, which I think can what's the word? Not inhibit. It can push away greedy play, um, which I think is a pretty honestly for Hoenn being a low tier. I think that's more important that people realize because I'm big greedy sometimes, especially in the lower tier divisions like this. Oh man, seriously, excuse me, and I'm so sorry, Syrie. I'm doing this all during your section. I feel super awful. I don't know what's happening, but no fire, psychic, or normal, which not necessarily the most important types, but they're types you'd still like to have if possible. Uh, Ice Week and Fairy Week, which also contributed to why week one he lost. But he's got versatile mons like Rotom, like Kyurem, like even Meowscarada, like Aegislash, like Quagsire. You know, these mons can do a lot of different things, and I think it's nice to have them. Uh, and let's go over the battles. Week one, he just didn't prep for Speed Boost Bundle, right? Why would you prep for Speed Boost Bundle? You are have Scarf and Am and Boost Energy Speed Great Tusk. There's like I wanted to bring specs, but Speed Booster just allowed me to outspeed creep uh, Anam and Booster Great Tusk, which I knew would probably be coming, and end up working out severely for me. Week two, he just got hazards up and went ham. Like Glamora put on a show. Week three played safely versus threats in the mid game until WinCon was in. Just chip some stuff down and then let what was this WinCon that game? Kyurem, let Kyurem clean up. Week 4 also played well. Stuff just got chipped. He had impressive moments, but Nam just couldn't 3v1 late game. And week 5 is a forfeit win. So next, we have one of my good buddies, Thellum, and Alpine, who admittedly don't have that great of a differential for the record, but I still think the team's super good. Before week 5, before he played his battle, he was, I believe, top 4 in the rankings. He fell all the way down to 8 off -2 differential. That shows you how tough this division is. Great Fairy Dragon Steel Core, great type coverage, 5 good taunt users, like legitimately 5 users of taunt that I can see coming. Maybe Urshifu less than the rest, but still nice to have when you're playing stuff like Crest, when you're playing just stuff that love to not attack you. I think it's one of the more underrated moves in competitive because yeah, I see people use it, but I don't think people realize the value in having a lot of taunt users. Overall, just great support. Again, bottom right corner, a lot of roar, a lot of taunt, okay amount of knockoff, heal bell, and trick. 4 or 5 goober threats with defensive pivots. I mean, Urshifu and Lele has like 0 switch-ins combined, and then Weavile and Dragonite on top of it. Oh man, that is a super hard-hitting offensive core, and the defensive pivots like Belly Bolt, like Heatran, like even Dragonite or Skuntank. It just allows his offensive monsters to shine more than they already do. But it's got pre-bounce stats. I mean, look at the bottom. There's no outlier, and they're all pretty consistent. Mid to late 80s, which is, I would say, pretty good in Draft League. Semi-questionable hazards with your 2 rockers being Heatran, Celebi. Heatran's good, but I don't know if you're ever going to bring spikes on Diggersby, and I've seen toxic spikes on Skuntank. It's actually pretty decent, but it's slow after Weavile. Like, you got a base 100, and then you got some guys that, well, most of them are 80s, 90s, but it still feels slow. Slower than you'd think. And like I've touched on earlier, I think that leads to forced Scarfers, which, again, isn't bad, but you'd like to not have mons that are forced to bring Scarf every week. Week 1, Skuntank MVP performance, and just played well versus all of Mr. Duax's threats. Week 2, played to win con. It was a matter of time until Urshifu swept. He chipped and played patiently, and then waited for his chance to get Urshifu in. And as soon as that happened, it was wraps. Week 3, got up hazards and played for chip / late game with Heatran. Another good demonstration of playing patiently until he can get his win con in. Week 4, played well, relatively safe. Just instant lost after Lele got paired. I mean, if Lele didn't get paired, there's not a guarantee he won. But if once Lele got paired, I don't think there's a chance he could win. So it was a very bad moment, very bad 10%. And then week 5, I just have Crest moment on there. I mean, if you watch the replay, he did a decent job with Crest. I mean, obviously he got set up, but he poisoned it and lowered its accuracy with Belly Bolt, which, since it's from my water, doesn't go. It doesn't break evasion clause or anything. He is good stalling, just bad luck. Crest hit literally like every single attack. But I won't let the 3-2 record deceive you. I'm not gonna say he's a playoff lock, but I think that he is an insane player at times, and I think these 2 losses are going to be close to the only ones all season. Oh, well, look at that. That's me. I'm going to make this section super quick because I'm sure none of you came here to hear me talk about me. Um, I could talk about my team for days, and I already have. So I'm just going to speed run this. Um, Team, I love it. I mean, you got threats, you got support, you got defensive pivots. You really got everything you really want, except for a fighting type. I would have loved a fighting type, but it's fine, I guess, that I don't have one. No rock type. Other than rock, I have no negative weakness, which for rock weak mons that don't like to be taking stealth rock feels bad. And I only have two like real removers, and stats are super balanced. Week one, just good prep, incredible prep, and week two, I just weeks one, two, and five, basically all my wins. I got incredible position early, and incredible position early. Just play it safe and got some not guaranteed wins, but got some easier wins than I otherwise would have. Week three, I don't even know what I was doing. Like I had Terrablast ground, I could have went for it turns 1 and 2 and probably knocked out that Torn. And I think after that, I started to question myself, started to let myself get mad, and my bad mental ruined the rest of the game. Like, I got a few turns right back when I said I'm going to have to play a little more aggressively. That's fine. Then week four, I just didn't prep well enough, so it's fine. I'm telling you, 3-2 record, you could say, oh, that a lot of people have that. A lot of people don't have +8 differential. Like, I think my differential might be second in the entire league. And there's people with 4-1, so stocks are going up. Then this is tier one. The top four teams in the league, according to me. Um, and I I could see it being debatable, but um, the order is going to be super debatable. But I don't know if the top four teams are going to be debatable. Um, Sorry, let's get into the first one. The Backstreet Bramblin and Coach Lazy Bozy, 4-1 +7 record. Obviously, he beat me. Um, and the team is super good. You got super gel and annoying top five. Like they all work well off each other. Um, all work super well off each other. You got, in my opinion, one of the best Terra Caps and Hisuian Arcanine. That thing just goes stupid defensively or offensively. He explained a very good quote to me. It's called head empty, click head smash. And boy, does that mon do that well with Terra Rock. Um, Not incredible speed tiers, but good. Like, the top two are good. Then you got 100, 105, and some 90s. I don't know. I guess I just wish it was a little faster or had a little more, like, set, like, maybe instead of two 90s, have, like, an 80 and a 70. And make it fill out a little better. But I can't complain too much. The speed tiers honestly really aren't that bad. Um, Hazard Stack plus Gold, a tried and true. Still kicking. It's not even Hazard Stack. It's more like Team Loot and Gold playing off each other extremely well and being annoying. But that being said, he's kind of cooked by Bolt Beam. Ice and Electric are his two biggest weaknesses, and the mons that resist Ice don't like getting a Thunderbolt to the face and vice versa. Um, Great defensive coverage, only weak to Electric negatively. Uh, what else was I going to say? Not a lot of types can break through this entire team. Three incredible Scarfers with Arcanine Hisui, Gold, and Porygon Z. Now, the fact that they're all around same speed tier makes it a little bad because you can speed creep it easier with your own scarf. But even then, Mienshao scarf can come, and it's still good. Respectable Fairy Dragon Steel Core. Uh, Primarina's good. Cyclozar's okay. And Gold's super good. Like, it's not my favorite out of the entire league, but it's still good. Um, Now, the battle notes. Week 1, incredible prep. Just Bug Terra, Flash Fire, Arcanine went off with Rock Blast out of all moves. Week 2, he just let stuff get chipped. He didn't play to prevent Urshi late game. I'm not sure he expected Sword Stance plus Protective Pads. Like, he probably thought just pairing it with Zapdos is going to work, but Protective Pads is a stupid item for it. Um, Week 3 honestly played better than end result shows. He missed 2 Toxics and played off the back foot and still won. That's a very important trait to have because I know personally, if I get down early, it's really hard to come back because I'm so down on myself. And I know a lot of people that way. So being able to be on the back foot almost the entire game and still winning, super impressive. Then versus me, he had incredible prep, played to Golden Arcanine endgame, and just chipped everything else with Crobat because it didn't prep for it. And that plays, I think he's an incredible prepper and a good battler, which when combined in Draft League, very, very nice. It always leads to a good coach because those are the two most important things. Week 5, he just got it Hazards early and blocked Defog with Gold. Just played extremely safe, let stuff get chipped with spikes and then win from there. How many times do I have to say it? It's a good strat if somebody does not have removal, and it makes the game incredibly easy, in my opinion. Not easy, but like hard to lose, if that makes sense. Then coming in at third, even though it's based off tiers, not rankings. Um, we have Clever Clef Keys and Coach Kicks. 3-2 coming above a 4-1 team. Um, I just like what I saw. It was mainly strength of schedule that determined that strength of schedule really determined the top 8. That's why I was focusing on. I've not touched on a lot, but uh, like it was very hard to these two. These are probably like 3A and 3B. Very similar wins losses, very similar notes, not similar teams, but they're basically the same team in terms of play style, in terms of the wins, the strength of schedule. So yeah, let's get into it. I love the team. Like, I don't know if I love it because it's like good, or I love it because of all of the Gen 9 mods. I'm a big Gen 9 fan. Love Paldex. Admittedly, it's very rock, electric, ice weeks. My brother has 3 flying types. So, yeah, Stealth Rocks kind of cook it. It's very much slower than ideal. You only got the 2 mods above 100, which, to be honest, seems like it's working. It seems like it's working for people because a lot of the top teams only have that with some mid tiers. But the problem is, outside of your top 4, of which a Pavilion's probably not coming, all 65 and below. It's like the slowest team I've seen in a long time. Um, but it's got some nice momentum and support I like. Now, all you see is the U-turns here. No volt switcher, no electric type, which I think is pretty important. But does have teleport from Slowbro. And I don't know if it gets chill reception or not in that deck, but you got the teleport, which is super important. And then mods like Torn, like Infernape, love clicking U-turn. I like the Fair Giant Steel and Firewater Grass Core, um, which I know I I don't let cores determine the order of my teams because I think just focusing on relying on a core is kind of overrated and not that good, to be honest. Um, but yeah, the regen core with other mods is nasty. Regen cores and Slowbro, and Torn. But then you got the other mons that love to come in off a U-turn, like King Gambit, like Bax, like even Infernape. It's just like, I don't know, man. It's just very good to bring those things in for free. In terms of the wins, uh, or the battles, week one, great pep, countered everything Pun had, to be honest. It was a very, not necessarily one sided, but like, it's kind of one sided. Week two, once again, had great prep and patience, never lost control the entire time. Was all I felt like was always in the driver's seat from turn one. Week three, he cooked my ass, played safe and out prepped me just straight up. And I played a little safe, a little stupid, and it just cost me big time. But big props to him. Week four, played as well as possible, just lost by 15%. Because Cartana took a fire punch for absolutely zero reason. And then week five just lost to Sweeper at the start to a Whooper. And actually, it got lost to Tokiss, but I'm just gonna say Whooper. No heavy duty boots against Hazard Stack equals not good, because that's what lost that number four right there. Every time switched and stuff like Claude, stuff like Nam, just got chipped for stupid amounts. And it really cost the game. Turns out hazards are pretty important for securing a game. And I don't think I really realized that until I started taking notes. Like, I knew they were good, but like, man, it makes the game a lot easier sometimes. Um, Next, I have coming second, the Modest Pelipers by my homeboy Samuel Sturgeon. Uh, Big Senor Samuel. 4-1 +7. I got some notes here. It's slow overall, like slow, like not as slow as Kick's team, but like overall, it's just not good. Now, to be fair, some of the mons contributing that Sabama Snow and Audino and Arctivish is always going to be Slush Rush, so it's like deceptively slow, but I don't know. It's missing four types with two semi-important ones to me, being Ghost and Dark. Bug and Rock really don't matter that much to me. I'm liking that Fairy Dragon Steel Core though. Like Tinkaton, I think is underrated, and it's a very good secondary fairy to pair with Clefable. Um, I love the momentum with the Wish Pass, the Volt Switch, the U-turn, and most importantly, the chilly reception. Um, I just really like the different types of momentum, especially with the regen. Oh, that's nasty. Now, he's got pretty good hazards with Toxic Spike Sneasler, which I don't know if it's ever going to come, but Spikes and Stealth Rocks on Dark Chomp and Rocks on two other mons, it's pretty decent. The removal mons don't love it. No Rapid Spin, as two defog mons don't like to click defog that much. Rhoda more so than Bundy, but he's got lots of taunt and encore mons. Not, I don't know, five. I don't know, 5 out of 10 is pretty good. I don't know if it's a lot though. Um, it doubles up on type. He doubles up on types a decent amount, which again isn't necessarily bad, especially when it's like water, when it's like electric, when it's fairy. Um, it's just, I don't know. You would have liked to see a dark type and a ghost type, but he's only got one negative. Like, you can't hit his entire team for neutral or even um, super effective. Like, was there 18 types of Pokemon? 16. He's like 16 out of 18 for um, his team beating, which is super insanely good. I think probably the best one I've seen so far. And then anything else stand out? Not really. Um, So yeah, let's get to the battles. He's played super well. Week one, like I thought he was out playing Couch Cat, and then just couldn't stop Zamazenta once it got in, and that's why I have the Zamazenta by week one, because it's referred to between us as the Zamazenta incident, and we don't talk about it. Week two, he's very in control on the front foot often and eliminates threats with Sneasler, such as Iron Moth, such as Greninja. Week three, he sacked Tink, which I thought was weird because I didn't think it needed to be sacked, but played for Thundy and Sneasler late game. But it was super scary because there were points where you really couldn't tell who was going to win. That was most of the battle. Um, just had a better late game. Week four, chipped everything and never let a Nam get out of hand. So the goal is chip everything, and then between Rotom, between Slowking, they just cleaned up and were never able to die because of the recovery, because of just what mons were left. Week five, he made some aggressive predictions. I put aggressive in quotes because he weather ball iced on an obvious Zygarde switch in, but hit Dondozo instead, and then he got avalanched. But he made some good switches and played exclusively for late game Sneasler. Talk to me about that. It just worked out. Nothing could stop Sneasler in the late game. And that leads us to team numero uno, the Valiant Vibravas and Coach Couch Cat, 4-1 plus 14. It turns out, Zamazenta Crown is a busted ass mon. That being said, he made a lot of transactions, drop Toxapex, drop Tangrowth, and maybe something else. But it left him with no dragon, and I'm not sure how I like the free agent moves. I feel like Zarude and Cleavor just don't mesh well. I don't know what it is. It's not super fast overall. You got Zama, you got Raikou, and you got some 95 to 105. It's good. It's just not like elite, which isn't a bad thing. I love the hazards, momentum, and support. He fills out this entire box to the right, and it's super impressive, honestly. And another problem I see is he's got 2 to 3 viable special attackers, and like Raikou, Victini, and Togekiss. You could count the Dunsparce with Boom Burst, but I don't know. Um, I don't mean to bash on him because I hate his team. Like if I were to play it, but honestly, it's good. I'm just skeptical of the free agent moves. Like his talent's good. He has in my opinion, he's had the strongest strength of the schedule, and he has plus 14 differential, which is insane. Um, so yeah, big ups. I don't know if this is the best team I've seen draft, especially after free agency. But imagine Pex instead of Zarude and Tangrowth instead of Cleavor, and how annoying that is. A lot of teams can't break it, man. And it led to some free wins. And they overprep for Zama. They overprep for Gliscor and Toxapex, and it just leads to other mons picking up kills. Um, week one, he played to get chip and send in the win con. Zamazenta, even if I would argue he got outplayed for the most part, doesn't matter because he chipped and um, he just let Zamazenta cook. Week two, Scarf Togekiss moment. Like I said, Bleedle really didn't bring anything to stop Scarf Togekiss, and he got 6 kills. Week three, he just didn't have Lottie answers. Like, Lottie coverage just cooked his entire team, and it just thrived late game when everything was chipped. Week four, the pair on Lele helped, especially, but he played pretty well, and I think he still could have won a majority of the time if Lele was still alive. Was debatable. In week five, he got spikes up and played super conservative and consistent until everything was dead. So yeah, it allowed spikes just allowed him to get a +4 win on one of the best, and it's debatable whether I think he's the best or not, or whether you think he's the best or not. I just know that 1, 2, 3, 4. These four, I think, are pretty. I don't think it's debatable that they're top four. Like I can see myself or Felon getting in, but I don't know who you'd kick out. Like like I said, anybody in the top four can be 1 through 4, and I really don't care. Super hard to differentiate these, but in the end, I think having a +4 differential against three of the best teams in the league and two pretty good other teams is just super impressive. And so, for that reason, the Valiant Vibravas are my number one. And I did not prepare an in slide for you, so I'm just going to stick it on here. Thank you guys so much for support. I decided to take matters in my own hands. This took a lot of effort to create because I went through every single replay, went through every single team, added it onto here. Um, and it just took a lot of time and dedication. Turns out 16 teams is a lot. So I would really appreciate like and subscribe. It's free. Comment your thoughts. You can comment your own power rankings down in the comment section. Do what you please. Um, but yeah, I appreciate you guys so much, especially if you stuck through all the way. Um, thank you. I love you guys. I really do. And I will see you guys on Sunday where I play Sam Sturgeon. Feel free to check out my last video on free agency. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Deuces. Also, thank you, Jode, and NPBA for allowing me to do this. I big appreciate it.